mad. You can't make me mad. But you can make me show my mad. You can make me show my anger. You can make me show my hate. But you can't put it in me. Move on. Where were we? So John kind of goes through this section where he's answering these huge questions. These, how do I know if questions? How do I know if I'm saved? How do I know? There's another one actually. It's kind of a big one. And I don't know what this will sound like to you. Verses 18 through 27. Let's jump up to there because it's kind of in the section of the how do I know if. It says, Dear children, this is the last hour. And as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come. This is how we know it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they did not really belong to us. For if they had belonged to us, they would have remained with us. But their going showed that none of them belonged to us. So again, he's referring to some of the Gnostics to be a part of them. And they go out and they tell a different thing. They skew the truth. They change the truth. They tell lies. And he refers to them as Antichrist. So he's answering the question, which was a big deal to them. It should be a big deal to us. How do I know an Antichrist if I see one? Now, don't get it mixed up with the Antichrist from Revelation, although this is the writer of Revelation. Don't get it mixed up with that. He's not talking about the Antichrist, in my opinion. He's talking about Antichrists. As some people that are liars about the Bible, people that are going to tell lies about it, the Gnostic movement that was going on. Harold Camping. You guys know the name. He's the man that predicted the end of the world a couple times. Said it would be gone by now. It's not, obviously. The guy's crazy. Okay? He's an Antichrist. He's somebody that takes the truth, not a truth. He takes the truth, he spins it, or she, I guess. There's some of those out there too. And presents it in a way that's not true for whatever agenda they want. So how do I know that something's an Antichrist? He's telling us. He's addressing an issue that's an important issue for Christians to know. So my question is this, and I asked it earlier. What would your statement be? What would your statement be? If it was your last chance, if you were writing your last email or your last post on Facebook or Twitter, what would it be? I'm on Twitter, and so I'll make posts all the time that are kind of just throwing statements out there that are truths, just encouraging things for the day. I have guys that I follow and that follow me on Facebook that are some pretty dynamic guys, and they'll write things on there that I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And it's just, man, how did they make statements like that? I'd have never thought of that. And a lot of times that's what I think. And so when I think about that and I read just the first 2 chapters of John, I think, man, John, this guy had it together. He addresses 4 or 5, maybe 6 issues. I mean, we're really only halfway, 3/4 of the way through chapter 2 here. And there's 4 or 5 different major issues that he's brought to light and dealt with in a godly, biblical way for anybody that's reading this letter, which could have been all the churches in Asia Minor. This is a big deal. That's a lot of people. I mean, that's a lot of people. And he, if you ask me, he's rocking. These are not truths that he's winging. I mean, he's speaking about this in an educated manner. He's not winging this. Kyle, do you think he's winging it? No? I wonder if your statement was made tonight, how much of it would you have to wing? Or how long would that statement be? How many different subjects could you talk about to present truths to your people? How educated would they be after that statement? Or would you have to stop at Jesus saves, exclamation point, would that be your statement? It's a true statement. Don't get me wrong, it's a true statement. But man, it's not even close to enough if you're talking to a group of believers. Please tell me that you would have something else to leave your people with. Because most of us have mainly Christian circles. Please tell me you'd be educated beyond Jesus saves, beyond a bumper sticker. John is not writing a bumper sticker with this. This is deep, intelligent, prepared, organized stuff that's ready to be passed on because it's those things. Here's my fear. That some of you, or most of you, can go through a ministry here, and you can be in our youth ministry from 6th grade to 12th grade, and that's a total of 7 full years. 7 full years that you were in a youth ministry. And at the end of it, if I asked you to tell me every way that this youth ministry impacted the way you think, tell me what you're taking away from this youth ministry as you enter into adulthood. What are the things you know you're absolutely solid on because you were educated in? Because you got educated on that subject. How many things would you say? My fear is most of you would say clips of some great sermons, clips of some bad sermons. You'd remember a couple video clips. You'd remember some great jokes. You'd maybe even remember some illustrations. But how many of you would have solid things? I know how to do this now. I know how to pray. I know how to hold myself accountable and have other people hold me accountable. I know how to tithe. I know how to study my Bible and not read it. I know how to tell somebody about the Lord. I know how to teach somebody about the Lord. I know how to enter the workforce and present a testimony. I know how to live my life as a Christian. Or would it be, man, I remember when I was in 10th grade, you had a sermon about ... whatever it was. My hope is that there's more to this. And that you're taking your walk with Christ more serious than a thesis statement at the end of your walk that says Jesus saves. That's a true statement. But you've got to be able to say more. You've got to be able to say more than that. Got to. You've got to know more than that. Adulthood will kick your tail if all you know about Christianity is that Jesus did it. It's a big no. I mean, you got to know that. But you got to know more. He didn't just die. That's not all he did. There was a whole life before that that made a difference. We, as Christians, have to be able to speak about it and know it and bring that to the world. Let's pray. Everybody bow their heads and close their eyes. Before I pray, I want to ask you guys this. Do you have a statement? Do you have truths that you could bring? But before I move on to that, you know what, I want to do this first. Maybe one of you out there is sitting there thinking, you know what, I don't have a statement, and here's why. I don't have a statement because I don't have a relationship. All that talk about being in Him and knowing Him, I don't really know Him and I'm not in Him. Maybe that's you tonight. And I don't know if it is. In a group this size, there's almost always somebody. And I wouldn't dream of scaring you into making a decision or talking you in to making a decision for Christ, because if I can talk you into it, somebody else can talk you out of it. But if you don't have a statement because you don't know Him, and He's not in you because you've never made that decision, I really want you to hear me right now. The Bible tells us that for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, meaning there is nothing you could do to ever deserve a relationship with Jesus. And the Bible also tells us that the wages of that sin that caused you to fall short, the wages of that sin is death. So because you sin, because you don't deserve to have a relationship with Christ, the payment of that, the cost of that, is that you do deserve death. You deserve a death that will send you into an eternal hell and eternally separate you from our Lord and Jesus. Eternally, forever. No end. I'm not trying to scare you. I want you to know the truth. But the rest of that verse is, for the wages, but the gift of God is eternal life. The cost is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. Meaning, God did something. He gave us a gift that means our sin doesn't have to cost us death. And I know you know what the answer is, but that gift is Jesus. It is God's Son. It is God Himself. Jesus. That when Jesus lived a life, He was setting up an opportunity for you to have a relationship with God. And when He died, He nailed that opportunity. He made it. His whole life, such an important life, was setting up that opportunity, and then He nailed that opportunity for you when He died. So that you can have a relationship with the Father through Him. You know, the Bible tells us that if you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, that you're saved. Saved from hell, saved from sin, saved from you, most importantly, saved from death. And so tonight, if you heard that entire message and the whole time you're going, I'm not in Him, I don't know Him, He doesn't know me. If that's you and you want to make that right, you want to ask Christ into your heart and you want to start knowing Him, you want to be in Him and you want Him in you, if that's you, nobody else is looking, it's just me. But if that's you, raise your hand. I don't know Him, but I want to. And I want to start knowing Him tonight. If that's you, raise your hand. And if not, I'll move on and we'll talk about what's next. But do not forget the fact that the wages of sin is death, and so that you need somebody to make that payment. And you don't make enough to pay that debt. Jesus paid that debt for you, but you have to accept Him first. Just a couple more minutes and then we'll move on. Okay. Maybe you're a Christian, maybe you're a believer out there and you know the Lord, He's in you, you're in Him. You're saved, as we call it. But you know that you're not living for Him. You know that there's something in your life holding you back. You know that you don't obey Him the way you're supposed to. You don't live for Him the way you're supposed to. You don't tell people about Him. You know Him, but you don't know enough. I mean, I think all of us can fall into that category. But is there something holding you back from knowing Him? If you don't know Him enough, my goodness, why would you not make a decision right now to know Him more? And so we're just going to have a couple minutes where you can come to the altar, you can come talk to me, you can talk to Terry or Cassie or Rusty or Megan or whoever else is back there in the back. They're adults, they're ready, they're waiting for you. But Carson and the band are just going to hang out here for a minute and just play some music so it's not completely quiet in here. But you do business with God, whatever you need to do. If you need to talk to somebody, do it. I mean, this is an altar, it's not a stage. Come lay your troubles down before your Lord. Don't carry a burden anymore. So we're going to wait a couple more minutes. God, we just come before you and just thank you again for who you are. God, what a glorious God you are. Man, how unworthy are we to get to come before you and worship you. Lord, I just pray that you would speak to our hearts. Continue to do that as we sing a couple more songs or whatever we're doing. I'm not sure, but Father, whatever we do, I pray that it be from our hearts, that it wouldn't be a show, it wouldn't be about who's watching me. God, that it would be real.